Hello. How are you?
Hello, how are you? You feeling better
Yes,
today?
great. All of a sudden, I feel like I've recovered. Not
Recovered
100%,
from
but I
COVID?
definitely feel better than I was yesterday. So
Good,
we're definitely on the road to recovery. Yay, at
good.
last.
I'm
Yeah,
so glad.
me
Um,
too. I'm happy today.
so welcome to our accessibility session 2. And today we're going to look at vision, hearing and neurodiversity. So without any further ado, I am going to share my screen and we
And
will
it's our
start.
final 5 steps digital session. I can't believe we've got to the end of it all. So if you're joining us this afternoon, welcome. And hopefully, I had trouble sharing yesterday. Here we go. You can see
And
something now.
there we are.
Here we are. There
Okay,
we
so
go.
it's our ASN specialism 2. And you can see we've got lots of icons there because we covered rather a lot last night. We maybe don't have quite so much to do tonight. We ran over a wee bit last night, but hopefully we will finish in time today. So my name's Rosalind Lee and I am the Development Officer for Digital in North Ayrshire Council. And there's my hobbies there, swimming every morning, not singing in the pool or while dog walking. My dog is fast asleep on the couch downstairs, unlike Amanda's dog, who's probably sitting beside her looking for a biscuit. And you may also hear her birds as we go through the session today.
Yeah, definitely. This is me. I was just laughing at this slide there because I'm thinking, you have a singing dog? And do we need a comma
It
there? And I can work it out
actually
because
looks like that, yes, it does.
a singing dog. Yes, my dog is sitting here beside me. I've just run out and I've given him a biscuit, so he's nice and quiet now. But the budgies realise that I'm now online, so you might hear them. But my name is Amanda Pickard. I am a primary school teacher in South Ayrshire, but I'm on secondment at the moment as a digital learning development officer. And that's everything that I usually do when I'm feeling fit and healthy. And you can find me on Twitter at AJOB Pickard, and Ros is at Ros J Lee. You can also follow at Tablet Academy SC and also tag hashtag Team MIEE Scotland, because Ros and I are two of the 4 fellows in Scotland. So that is us.
Okay.
Welcome.
Yes, so there is our session today, today, as I said earlier, it's vision, hearing and neurodiversity. And we've got the MET code there if you are already registered on the Microsoft Educator Centre. If you're not, go on and do it and redeem your code for points. And there's lots of courses there that you can do to get badges and points and so on and become a Microsoft Innovative Educator and maybe even aspire to being a Microsoft Innovative Educator expert later on. So there's the code there that you can
Yeah, we'd
redeem.
love to have you join MIEE Scotland. We're a fantastic bunch of educators, and it's definitely worthwhile signing up to the Microsoft Education Centre. Redeem the code, have a look around, but not only do you just get points, you get digital badges, and you can upload the details to your GTCS profile and get credit there too. So it's really worthwhile doing. We've got
Okay.
loads of things to cover today, haven't we, Roz? Absolutely
Yes,
millions.
we've got quite a lot of
Yeah.
various different three different areas we're looking at, but lots of different resources within each of the areas. And we're going to start with vision. So the next few slides you're going to see will be tools that would help visually impaired pupils. So these are the things that we're looking at. The Ease of Access Centre, we're going to look at a couple of apps and also at the Edge browser as well.
And it's worthwhile just going over. Last night we talked about, making sure that we're providing an equitable opportunity for all our students. These are about accessibility. It's about leveling the playing field. And we talked about different kinds of disability. I didn't pop it back in this part of the slideshow tonight, but we talked about permanent, temporary and situational. So in terms of vision, permanent would be if you had a pupil who was blind or registered blind. Temporary would be maybe if you had like an eye infection or something. And situational, you know, if you're in a classroom, it's a busy classroom, lots of kids, and possibly can't see where they're sitting from. So these are just a few of the tools that we know exist that can help support learners with any of those issues or situations.
So we've got quite a list there of different things that we have available, and lots of people are not aware of these things that are available on your Windows computer. Let's have a wee look at the Ease of Access Centre. So for vision, we have a narrator which will read everything that appears on your screen. It's something I think you would have to get used to, because I have tried it, and for somebody who's sighted, it's just somebody speaking, you know, somebody explaining all the time. But if you're visually impaired, it's something that's really, really important, because it tells you absolutely everything that's there. You can change the voice, you can add voices, and there's Scottish voices available from Call Scotland. I think I can't remember I think it's Heather, and I can't remember what the male voice is called, but you can download the voices so that you can have a Scottish voice as well. We can change the speed and the pitch and so on, and the volume of the narrator.
It's really easy to access. You know, in my class, I would always teach my pupils to set up the device for themselves using the Windows key, go into settings, open up the Ease of Access Centre, and then choose narrator and accessibility in narrator. And it's really easy to set up, and it's a personal preference, you know, so it's definitely worthwhile showing the pupils in your class that this is there.
Okay, so for somebody who is visually impaired and who has some degree of sight, there's a magnifier, and also you've the ability to zoom into whatever it is that we're looking at on the laptop as well. So we've got a magnifier there.
Great for me when I can't find my specs as well, Ros.
Yes, I know, it's really good. It's actually something I find I do all the time, and increase the font size and things nowadays that I never used to. Looking at an Excel file, for example, is quite a bit of a challenge for me now. Two apps that we're going to look at now. Seeing AI is actually one that's quite good fun. As Amanda has found out in the last couple of days playing around with it, there's lots of really good things in Seeing AI, and it's again an app maybe that you've not heard of before, that you're not aware of. Seeing AI has a variety of features there. You can see it reads text, it will read handwriting as well. It can also scan product barcodes. So if you obviously not our pupils are maybe not out shopping, but it can tell you what an item is. The barcode, it identifies money, it scans faces, and one of the it depends how you feel about it. It depends what it does. When you scan your own face, it actually tells you how old it thinks you are. And a wee tip here, if you're going to use this one, smile, because it takes years off you.
Smile and step back, it makes you younger.
Yes, if you step back, if you hold the phone further away as well, it makes you look a bit younger. It took 8 years off my age this morning, so I was quite pleased about that. It can identify a scene, and it can also tell you what colour things are. And one other thing I didn't actually realise it did that I discovered last week was it can identify the amount of light by a sound that changes pitch. So there's our scan result. That's just text that I scanned, and you can see I scanned my laptop screen, and that's actually text from the laptop screen, and I could play it to listen to it, and I could also change the font size. I scrolled on hello with my finger onto my phone, and it can read handwritten text as well. So if it can read that, I think it could probably read anything. And there's my dog lying on the floor last week, and it told me it was a dog lying on the floor. I wondered if it would identify because of the way he's lying, but it can actually do that as well. So it's
I've had a great I mean, I think one of the genius things about this app is I've been around my house just scanning things, and it tells you what it is scanning. So it reads it aloud. So you hear the conversation constantly, the voice telling you exactly what it is it's scanning. And I took a photograph of myself. So it asked me to take 3 pictures of me and then name that person. So when I actually came around and scanned myself, it says, oh, Amanda. And I just thought it was absolutely a brilliant tool to be able to use in the classroom for text and posters and navigating around your classes. Brilliant, powerful app to help support any sort of visual impairment issues, or even just if it's, I forgot my glasses today.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to Office Lens. Office Lens is a really handy wee app, and I use it quite a lot. You can see here I have taken a picture of text. It's a bit blurry, but it's actually, it sharpens it all up, and it will give you, it allows you to change if it's taken the wrong sort of size of the text. It allows you to change the text. It takes the data off, and you can send it to these various places, and also it will open up in Immersive Reader, which is really good, because if you want to take a photograph of text, and this works with any text at all. Amanda's done this with posters, where text in the poster can be read, and there's the Immersive Reader, which looks exactly like Immersive Reader that you would see on a laptop. It's got the read aloud bit here, and it's also got the other features of Immersive Reader, where you can make the text size bigger and so on, change the colour background of.
I mean, using Lens is something that even our littlest learners can do independently. If you have an iPad, you have this app on the iPad. It's really easy to use. I showed primary 1 a couple of times, and off they go. They can actually teach each other how to use this. And you can scan anything, you know, a handwritten poster, any bit of text or anything around on your walls, you can scan it and actually listen to what it says. So it kind of makes that handwritten text into exactly what you see in Immersive Reader.
Okay, so now we're moving on to what Edge can do for visually impaired pupils, and it has quite a lot of features there, as you can see. One of the things that it can do, you can customize the appearance of your Edge browser. I've got Juicy Plum because I like purple, so my browser is purple, but you could change that to any other colour that suited the visual impairment of the pupil. You can also have light or dark as well. You can have the white text and black background. I don't like that. My husband, when he used to read from a Kindle, always read white text and a black background, and that actually it kind of hurts my eyes, but I know for a lot of people that's more comfortable. So you can choose the light or the dark, and you can choose the colour of your browser.
Yeah, even if there's no visual impairment, whatever it is, you know, I tend to choose my theme depending on how tired I am or the mood I'm in. So I regularly change mine. I've never used the juicy purple one, but I usually use the kind of greeny, bluey ones. Yeah, depending on my preference. So it is personal preference.
Yep, that's the calming ones, Amanda, the greeny blue ones. So you can zoom your page, and you've also got the ability there to read aloud. And this is something that I used. I was talking about that last night during a lockdown. I started to make bread, and I like reading the news. So because I was covered in flour, I would open my laptop up, I would go to the BBC News website, and I would choose an article, and I would have it read aloud to me so I could listen to it while I was baking. So that's another one of these situational disabilities. You can't do what you want to do because you're doing something else. You're engaged in something else.
Yeah, you might not be baking in your class, but you might have one of those situations where you're carrying around resources and you literally don't have enough hands or limbs to do what you want to do, and using Read Aloud can help complete the task that you're doing.
Within the Edge browser as well, there is the ability to use Immersive Reader, and you can see down here it appears, if you right click on the page, it appears as an option. It also appears, and I know you probably can't see that very well, it is quite faint. There is the 2 A's up there for the Read Aloud, this wee symbol here, and there's also the Immersive Reader symbol up there as well, so you can choose it from there, and it opens up your web page like that. And you've also got the ability to read aloud from there. You can choose text preferences and you can change the size of the font. You can change the type of font, and you can also change again you can do the white on to white text on a black background, and it just strips out all the clutter round about. It takes away all the well, there's no adverts on the BBC website anyway, but it takes away all the side things. If I go back a page, you'll see all these other news items were appearing down the side. They've all gone from the page, and it's much, much easier to read, particularly if you change. That's a medium font, but that could be made to be large and space the text a bit better as well. Okay, so now we're on to hearing. Again, lots of different functions that we can use to help hearing impaired pupils as well. Within the Ease of Access Centre, we can set captions so that it captions anything that is played, any audio that's played on your laptop is captioned. You can change the audio to mono to send the sound to both speakers, and I didn't actually realise this, that stereo will send different sounds from the two speakers. So if you've got somebody who's maybe deaf in one ear, if it was a stereo audio, they couldn't, and they were deaf in the left side, they wouldn't hear what was coming out the left channel. But if you change it to mono audio, then they hear the same. It will come out from the one channel rather than two. And you can also make notifications appear for longer on your screen. So there's our accessibility captions. You can change the style of the caption if you want. You can make it larger. You can change it to blue on yellow, which again I find a wee bit odd to read. But you've got the ability to add the captions there. There's the mono audio that you can use. It's again accessibility within the audio. And visual effects. This is the notifications. If you need notifications to be there for longer, because they may make a noise when they come in, but obviously if you're hearing impaired, you wouldn't hear that. So you can allow the notifications. Mine are set for 5 seconds because I find them quite annoying. But you can have them up to 5 minutes if you want, so that the person has actually got a chance to read what's in the notifications. We've also got subtitles in PowerPoint, and the captions that will display if you're in a Teams meeting, for example. Then you can turn on captions, and it's only for the user. Not everybody would know that you had captions on. So that's one of the things about the Microsoft tools, is that or all these kind of things are non-stigmatizing, because it's particular to the user, and not anybody else would know that they were using whatever it is that they've decided to utilise. So within the slideshow in PowerPoint, and I actually did this once, and I kept it, I didn't realise it stays on. If you tick the always use subtitles box, the next time you go to PowerPoint, it's on. And I actually opened a PowerPoint one night and wondered why there was text going along the top of the screen. And it was because I had the television on, and it was picking up what the person was saying in the television. So remember, if you have used that, if you don't want it again, switch it off, because it seems to, once it's on, it's on. So you need to switch it off. And there's an example of, that was a Teams meeting I had, and I was talking about breakout rooms, and that was what I said just appeared up there on the screen. And as I say, it's for the user and not for everybody. Anything else you want to say there, Amanda?
Yeah, just that the closed captions can also live interpret what you're saying. So you can be speaking in your native language, and the person who has put on the captions can actually choose a different language, and they will see what you're speaking in their language. So I could be speaking in English, but their captions could appear in French. So I think that's another really powerful way of supporting people. And maybe it's not a hearing impairment, but it's just a different language.
Okay, so we now come to neurodiversity, and there are quite a lot of different functions that we can use for neurodiversity. These are neurodiverse people, because they think and learn in a different way to others. they sometimes need the support in order to carry out work. Obviously they've got differences in the way they learn, and their sociability and their attending as well, and their mood. So these are all things that will help with that.
Yeah, so I have a pal on Twitter, and she's absolutely amazing, at Laura F. McConnell. If you're not following her, follow her. She's amazing. I think one of her hashtags is actually autistic. So she is a neurodivergent teacher. So when we were building this PowerPoint, I actually had a little chat with her and asked her for a bit of advice and really what kind of things that she uses and would recommend using with her pupils, children, young people who were also neurodivergent. So a lot of it is already built into Microsoft, and Microsoft provide us with loads of options and alternatives. But again, it's about personal preference. It's about finding out what works for each individual. Not one thing might work for one person and it might not work for another. So it's always good to go and have a look, investigate, and then try out these things. But Ease of Access, again, has loads of options that we can use to support pulling out distractions and putting on focus, all of these sorts of things. Sorry.
So we've got the contrast themes. Again, you can decide which one suits best. We've got the dark. So it's okay. I thought you were coughing there. It went quiet very quickly. So we've got the different themes there that we can choose from. We've also got display. This can be really important, and this is something that I always I have done quite a lot of iPad training in the past, and one of the things I always said to people was, particularly iPads are particularly bright when you switch them on, and they're actually too bright for most people. But if you've got a photosensitivity, then that's one thing. And also with a laptop as well, though I don't know that laptops are as bright as iPads. I think they seem to be very, very bright. But adjusting the brightness in the display, you can also block the blue light by turning on the night light here, and it takes the blue light away. And again, that's meant to be better at night anyway, because blue light is bad for keeping you awake. It's harder to go to sleep if you're using blue light on the screen. So again, we can change it to the warmer light. So that's probably really important for a lot of people, is the brightness, because apart from the fact it keeps you awake, it's maybe not good for somebody, and quite a lot of people are photosensitive, so it's good for that. We've also got the focus assist, and this is where you can actually take away any distractions like the notifications. Earlier on, we were talking about keeping the notifications on the screen for longer. For people with a hearing impairment, this will take the notifications away. And I was actually reading an article by a writer a couple of months ago, and he said he used Focus Assist, and he also changed the colour scheme in his whole computer to grayscale, because he said he felt it really helped him to focus on his writing. So it's anything to minimise distractions in this case. Okay, so we're now on to learning tools, and we've got loads of things in our Microsoft Learning Tools that we can use to help with neurodiverse pupils. So the first thing is reading. So if we're in our Word document here, for example, and we go to the View tab, we've got the ability to choose a focus view or a reading view. Sorry. So if I go first of all to this, that's the reading view. Now, I think you'll agree that's a lot less distracting than that. I know we can take the ribbon, we can pop the ribbon up and hide it, but that, I think the reading view really helps. There's really nothing much on the screen there at all to distract somebody. So reading view is really good, and the focus view is probably even better because it takes everything away and it's got the black roundabout. So it's basically helping the person to focus directly on the text there. We've got accessibility checker within Word as well, and that again, it's up here, it's in the review tab, it's up here, and we can check the accessibility, and that's something that we should do all the time whenever we're creating any resources at all is check the accessibility. Is there anything there that's going to not be great for whatever need? So checking the accessibility will bring down the side here, will bring you a list of things that it's found wrong with your document and explain things that you have to change. And one of the things that I've become a bit more aware of just recently actually is this alt text, and it's alternative text for images. And it was pointed out to me just last week actually that we all put pictures onto Twitter. And again, I know this isn't with referring to children because they're not using Twitter, but we all put images onto Twitter and we don't actually put alt text on. And Twitter allows us to put alt text on to explain what's in the photograph. So that's something that I'm going to be a bit more aware of now, but certainly something again that we can all do. Sometimes when if we take copyright-free images off the internet, they come with alt text, but other times if it's our own images, we might have to add the alt text in for that. We've also got, Immersive Reader is ideal for somebody who's neurodivergent. We've got a Word document here, and there's Immersive Reader again in the View tab, and it will, you can see there, it will take all the visual clutter away, and you can make the text bigger and so on. We can do things. We can listen to it as well. The facilities that it's got, we can change the text size, change the background colour, we can change the font, we can split the words into syllables, we can label parts of speech, and we can also change the line focus. And again, that's probably something that would be very useful because it's going to block out all the other text except the line or lines that the person is reading.
Yeah, this is one of the things I was speaking to Laura about, and she was saying this is a really, really important skill for any pupil, really, but in particular pupils that are neurodiverse, that they listen back to their work often as possible so that they can, it helps them to identify and focus how they can expand their work or add more details, especially if they're doing, older students are doing extended writing pieces. You know, this is a really great way of, a great habit to get into, to listen back to their work often, to go back and check and add to it, almost like part of the editing process.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Amanda, because that's something that I was speaking to somebody about just recently, and this was from again an adult's point of view. Sometimes we can edit things better if we listen because we hear mistakes before we see them. So that's certainly something that I would recommend to people to do as well. I'm actually really good at finding mistakes. I'm good at spotting spelling mistakes. It's one of my very few talents in life. I can see them really easily, but for some people that don't, to actually listen to what they've written is probably really good. And it would help them to, as Amanda said, to edit their work and improve upon their work.
Yeah, I think it's a great habit for everyone, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just listen what you've written. Sometimes I read it and I've written it, I think, yeah, that's good to go. And then I go back the next day and I think, oh, there's a mistake, or I didn't add that in and I thought I did. But because I was doing something quite quickly, it would help if I just took time just to switch on Immersive Reader, listen back to it before I actually submit, send, or do whatever I'm doing with it.
I think sometimes as well, you think it looks okay, but when you hear it, it doesn't sound very good. You know, maybe the words are a wee bit mixed up. There's the ability to dictate in Word, and I'm going to hand over to Amanda to explain this one with her croaky voice.
I absolutely, I'll try and not cough. I absolutely love Dictate, and I've used Dictate a lot with wee learners, littlest learners in primary 1, really just for storytelling. But for older pupils in secondary, this is a really great way of just getting everybody's ideas onto a page. Just get everything out of your head onto the page and then start from somewhere. It transcribes what you are saying, and it's pretty good. So today, with my COVID-y voice, I copied out just the first verse of one of my favourite poems, Sea Fever by John Masefield. And you can see the top one is the original. Then I just switched on dictate and I just started talking, and it's pretty good. There isn't any punctuation. There's definitely editing that needs to be done. It hasn't picked up everything that I said correctly. I think one of them is I keep saying and it's written in. So yeah, it's not perfect. And then I did it again and I dictated what I wanted it to type, but I included punctuation. So when I started reading, I was saying, I must go down to the sea again, comma, to the lonely sea and the sky, comma, new line. And all I ask is a tall ship and a star to steer her by, comma, new line. And it's done it pretty well. So the bottom one, I've highlighted it in blue, dictate with punctuation, just means that when I was dictating what I wanted it to type out, I was also dictating the punctuation instructions. And obviously you can see it hasn't written comma, it's actually entered the punctuation in. It's not perfect, and that is when I would definitely steer and support any age pupil to go back and listen to what has been typed using Immersive Reader, and then start the editing process from there. But it's a really brilliant way and quick way of getting your ideas out your head and onto a page and getting started. And quite often that's one of the most difficult things, is just to sit down and start writing. So yeah, super powerful. Dictate. If you haven't used it, I use it all the time personally. If I'm busy and I'm trying to do too many things at one time, and I'll just dictate something and then I'll go back and edit it. Dictate, listen to it through Immersive Reader, and then edit it. Possibly I might go back and use spelling and grammar if I don't have time to do my editing quite in detail as much as I can. But yeah, so all of those tools, dictate, Immersive Reader, spelling and grammar, or the editor, and then you're ready to kind of do a final check. But you can't recommend it enough. There are options as well. You know, when you click on the microphone, there's this little box at the bottom, and you can enable auto punctuation, which I didn't have, and also filter sensitive phrases. And you can set the spoken language. There's a few spoken languages, and it's definitely worthwhile using. We've had a comment from Pam. Hi, Pam. Love that combining dictate with Immersive Reader, it will help learners with editing. Absolutely, definitely. And I noticed, Pam, that you had said you're going to have fun using the AI app to find out how old you are. Let us know.
Keep smiling, remember, and you've got to
smiling and step back a wee bit.
Yeah, looking grumpy. So keep smiling. Okay, do you want me to do this, Amanda? It's your voice. Up. I'll do this bit. At the top of your Word document, there's a section there, as you can see, Tell Me. And Tell Me is an artificial intelligence search. And it's really, really good, because if you can't remember, and I've never learned to use Word properly, so I kind of struggle sometimes to find things that I don't maybe use all the time, and I can't quite remember where a particular feature is. So if, for example, the person wanted to highlight the text with a colour and they couldn't find where to do that, then they can go up to Tell Me, type in highlight, and there we've got the option there, and you can actually, it will bring it up. It doesn't just tell you where it is, it actually gives you the function to be able to do that. So Amanda has used that in order to highlight the 3 different sections of her text there. So Tell Me.
Pam's saying that she's always smiley, Rose, so that's good to know.
She is, yes, she is.
Sorry, I was just going to say as well, with highlighter, that's another really great editing option to support neurodiverse learners, you know, to make sure that they're highlighting things. You can color code the highlight to go back and edit and upload or add to your work. So if you can't, as Ros said, if you can't find it, stick it into Tell Me, and very quickly you can find and get on with your work without worrying about going through each of the tabs and each of the menus to try and find that option.
Yeah, which I sometimes do, and then I think, oh, just search for it instead, and it is much, much easier. Page colours, we can change our page colours as well. This is only in the desktop app. You can't do this if you're using online Word. It's not an option on online. It's only in the desktop. Go to design and away along to the right hand side, and we've got page colours, and we can have any colour. I don't know that anybody would ever want a bright red one, right enough, but we can have any colour of page at all there, and there we've got a nice sort of lemony colour, and the blue as well. And apparently blue is very popular, I hear, amongst, I can't remember where I heard that the other day, but blue is one of the most popular colours for changing. And I don't know that it's any specific need. I think it's just that a lot of children like reading off blue paper for some reason.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to bear in mind. I mean, although we're sort of talking about in terms of supporting neurodiverse learners, this is relevant to every learner and every person. I think it's so important we make sure that we are using accessible formats for presenting work and using those color papers. And again, it's a personal preference. I kind of like a buff yellowy color when I'm reading. I think it's better on my eyes, but maybe that's when I'm reading late at night. And also thinking about fonts and font sizes. And I think I use Century Gothic, a minimum of size 12 or size 14. That's my preference, with a little yellowy buff background.
Okay, another thing that we have in, in fact, I think, is that the same? Not, there we go. Sorry, that was the same slide there, the same image. That threw me a wee bit. Within Word, we've also now got Researcher, and I get that's a fairly new thing as well. So again, this is something that's really good from the point of view. I know when I was in school, if you asked children to do a task, they would spend forever looking for information on the internet, and they would get sidetracked. They would go away and do other things. So having Researcher actually in Word is really good. There it's there, and what we do there is when we click Researcher, it comes up at the side, and we can type in whatever it is that we're looking for, and it will give you links to different websites. It gives you images and so on, so you don't ever have to leave the Word document. You can do all that within the Word document, so we're not leaving the Word document to go somewhere else to do something, and with the chances that we might never come back into the document, which is I have experience of with some of the pupils I had. So Researcher is a really nice tool to have within the Word document, so that everything's in the one place for them. Okay, anything else, Amanda, about Researcher?
Yeah, I was just saying, it's a really great tool because it gives you lots of options, but it's all relevant and connected to the document that you've already started. So again, that's minimizing those distractions. It's keeping your focus on the task at hand. I love that it keeps you in the document, and you're not starting at like a search online in a browser from scratch, and not, you've almost sort of gone past a couple of steps, and you can get through your task, keep your focus and attention on what you're doing, and get it done with a little support.
Okay, so one thing again that maybe a lot of people aren't aware of, because we maybe sort of tend to, when we're creating a PowerPoint, we tend to just choose new and start. If we choose, if we go to this new here, instead of choosing new from the home page, we go to new, we can see a whole host of themes there, and we've also got the quick starter. Now the quick starter will allow you to type in a topic, and it will give you basically some slides with some information and a start, maybe some images and so on, and some information about the topic that you've typed in. So again, saving time and using the designs, it means that, again, we're not having to get distracted by going and find, adding our own colour and so on, and our own graphics. So it's using the quick starter, or using choosing one of the themes right from the beginning is a really good idea. One of the templates, rather, not the theme. The templates is a really good idea. Within PowerPoint, we have now Designer as well, which again is fairly new. It generates design ideas. Amanda and I have differences of opinion in this one. I'm a bit more of a control freak. As it says there, it matches the content to your design layouts. These are just some examples of, these are all different slides based on the same information. It's displaying that information in different ways. And it applies to each slide. And that's the one thing that I don't like about it is that I can't have every slide the same. I'm quite, as I say, I'm a bit of a control freak, and I like consistency, so I want everything to look the same, and it doesn't do this. It will apply the design to each slide. So unless you actually copy one slide and just change the text on it, it's going to give you a different slide. It's all based on the same sort of theme, but we
Yes,
can.
it does. I would argue with you there.
I know we disagree in this one.
Roz and I definitely disagree with this. I really like it. I think it's really powerful. You can start instantly from just using a title, and it gives you a themed layout design. And then, yeah, you add in a new blank slide into your slide deck, and the design ideas will pop up again, and you'll get options on the same or similar design, or you can have something completely different, but you still are able to edit the font and the size and the text and the layout. It's not stuck. Like, I really like it. So, and I think the last time we talked about this, we put up a poll on Twitter, and I think PowerPoint Designer won. But you still have access to the original themes that apply, the original themes that are applied to the entire slide deck. So you still have access to that in PowerPoint. But in terms of supporting neurodiverse learners, this is possibly a great tool just to get the content, focus on the content, and then let PowerPoint Designer just choose or suggest those slide designs and layouts for you. We're never going to agree on this, Ros.
No, we're never going to agree on that one. Never, ever. Another thing that we've got in PowerPoint is Presenter Coach. And again, it was available online, only now available in the desktop app as well. And Presenter Coach will allow you to practice your presentation, and it will tell you can also have body language switched on. So if you turn your head to the side, or you're constantly touching your face, it will tell you that you've looked away too much, or that you were hiding your face. It tells you all about your verbal delivery, whether you were saying a lot, which I do. There I go. It's I say not a. And it will tell you, if you're speaking too fast, if you're speaking too slowly, if you're monotone, or if your voice, how the pitch of your voice is going up and down. And it will give you a summary report with all your results. It'll tell you what you did wrong, so that you can practice again and make your presentation even better for the next time. So that's what the Rehearse with Coach icon looks like on the ribbon in PowerPoint, and it's something I've tried it a few times, and maybe if I practiced a bit more, I would stop saying M. I think it's just one of these things that we do, particularly when we're live. You can edit it out if you're making a video, but not if you're live. That's the ribbon there. So in slideshow, it's there, the Rehearse with Coach, and these are all the different things that it analyses. So filler words, I always get that. I always get the M, because I always put M into it. It's interesting as well, if inclusiveness, I know a lot of people say you guys, and a lot of people don't like that. And that's one of the things that we'll pick up if you've said that quite a lot, that it doesn't consider you guys as being inclusive. So it will tell you that. The other thing that's quite good is it will tell you if you're reading off your slides. It will actually say you read off, and it will show you the slides you read off, because that's one thing I think that I have a bit of a thing about, as well, as people who put a PowerPoint presentation up and then start to read it, because I think, well, I can actually read it. Tell me something else that's not on the slide. So it will actually show you which slides you read fully, which ones you read, and it's now available in all these different versions of PowerPoint.
So again, tonight we're going to run over time, so bear with us. We've got a few more slides. We're so sorry, but there are so many options, tools within Microsoft that are really, really important, and we don't want to skip over them too quickly, but we will go a little bit faster. Edge. So in Edge, we've got settings. You can change custom colors, zoom the page. Great if you've forgotten your glasses, but also to try and reduce your distractions and keep focus. And again, read aloud an immersive reader. And I know we've talked about these before. It's nothing new. You click on the 3 dots, you get into settings, choose your theme, your parents. I'm so sorry, the budgies have gone crazy. There's your page zoom. And yeah, so all of these tools are super powerful. I'll go on mute just for a wee minute here.
Well, the budgies fight. So that's immersive reading again, and again, we showed it earlier on in conjunction with vision, but for neurodiverse pupils, it's probably really good because there's absolutely no distractions at all. It's just going to give them the text that's the important part of what they are doing. And obviously we've got the text preferences that we showed you earlier on, that you can change the size of the font and so on. Okay, apps. This is
back again.
I was going to say, I hope Amanda's back because you're going to explain this.
Yeah, so really in terms of apps and things, I think that it's really important that we don't forget we've got things like Teams and OneNote to send work to pupils, you know, keeping it in one place, sharing the work so that it's expected. I'm so sorry, that is Kimball. And also about organizing that work in folders. It's about keeping that organization, keeping focus, minimizing distractions. And Teams and OneNote is really important to do that. In Teams, obviously, you can create different channels. You can talk about the files section. But in OneNote, definitely different sections and different pages within each section to keep it nice and organized. In terms of focus and organization, it's a really great way to use or maximize some sort of calendar. Now, I've just put in these 4 icons because you've got a calendar in Outlook, you've got the calendar app, you've got calendar in Teams, and you've got the to-do app. And all of these do help to organize ourselves. I happen to use all of them. You can flag an email in Outlook and it'll come up in your to-do list. So there's lots of ways that these things connect, but it's really, really great for making sure that you are organizing work and putting in a note about when I need something, or I need to remember to bring this to school tomorrow, or next week I've got this deadline. And it basically, once you've got everything in a calendar, you get an overview of your week. And that helps to make sure that we're organized, we're focused, and distractions are minimized. And, you know, obviously that's a great way of making sure that we all succeed, whether you're a grown-up adult or you're still at school, anyone of any age. But in particular, these are tools that I would definitely recommend if you are working with pupils who are neurodivergent. I think there was one more in there at the bottom, Ros. I think I might have put in lens, and we've already talked about lens in terms of vision. So that's another really great one to use as well. Yeah, and then we're just going to leave you with some top tips. So making sure that you...
Oh, we're off to have a week off. So lots of tips there on we've some of the things that we've talked about earlier on. And recording instructions is something that we didn't really cover today. We talked about that yesterday, but that's something that's really good for young learners or those with visual impairment. So recording instructions either in an audio file that we can stick into OneNote, or even possibly recording a video that they can still listen to. Some more there, using insights for your, again, similar to the check accessibility, you can have insights that tells you how long it takes to read your document, how long it is, how many words are in it, and so on.
We could even put some screenshots of these top tip slides up on Twitter for everybody to see. But these are just a few of our last thoughts for everybody about highlighting text and obviously using maximizing the potential of these tools and apps to support pupils. And that's us. And we're sorry, we're 5 minutes over, but not as bad as last night. 5 minutes over, Ros. If anybody has any questions, please tag us on Twitter, tagging at Tablet Academy SC, at Ros J Lee, at AGOB Pickard. Make sure you go and redeem your code. It is worthwhile. If you get your 2 hours, you become on 2 hours worth of courses and you redeem those codes on the Microsoft Educator Centre, then you become a Microsoft Innovative Educator and you get a lovely digital badge that you can share. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. It has been absolutely fantastic talking to you about all of these tools and apps. Don't want to keep you any longer. Sorry we're now 6 minutes over, Ros. Oops, 6 minutes over. That is the last final session of 5 Steps Digital. We hope you've enjoyed it. We hope you've taken away 1 or 2 things that you can try. Please let us know if you've got any questions. Get in touch. Thank you very much. Ros, have you got anything else?
No, it's just thank you very much for joining us, and don't forget to redeem that code and the feedback form which is in the chat for you.
That was amazing. Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.